Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are doing my February money diaries. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Raisa. I do a lot of personal finance and small business content, so if you're into that, make sure you're subscribed down below. How long did January feel like to you guys? I feel like it just went on and on and on and on, and I'm really excited to move into February because, I don't know, it's feeling a little bit like spring. It's been really sunny here in Vancouver and I'm excited to start a new month. So as always with my money diaries, we look back into the previous month and see how we did with the budget that we set and look ahead into the new month and set our budgets. So let's talk about what happened in January. January was interesting for me because I started the year off taking some time off from my 9-to-5 job. I did take, I want to say, a week and a half. I was also traveling a little bit. I started the year off in Toronto and then I flew back to Vancouver. And I don't know, I feel like this month was a lot of like thinking about my goals and thinking about what I want my year to look like, which I feel like is what a lot of people do in January. I also spent a lot of time on my yoga mat. I started to do yoga twice a week and I tried to do some running. Though it's been really nice, it has been quite cold here. So I've just been really trying to move my body and taking some time off to really recalibrate myself. I also took the Mondays in January off from my 9-to-5. I don't know, I just feel like I had such a busy December and November that I wanted to take a breath and just look at the year ahead and see what I want for myself. So that was my vibe this previous month. And I feel like January has stretched out. I feel like that's really how it feels every single year anyway. I'm filming this on Monday, January 27th. So we are not fully complete in January, but this is the only time I really had to make this video. So I guess like the caveat here is there is one more paycheck that is coming at the end of January, which is Friday, January 31st. That isn't recorded here because I'm filming this before that. But yeah, I want to know what your vibe was during this month and how you've been feeling. Leave them in the comments down below. In terms of finances, there was two big expenses that came up for me, which we'll get to, but they were like big lump sum emergency fund type of expenses, which really came out of nowhere. So that was unfortunate. We can talk about that. It is a 3 paycheck month in January, so you will see my income slightly higher. I also had access to a lump sum of money because I sold some handbags at the end of the year. So you'll see where I put that. And the other thing is we have decided that we're going to be taking a trip to Europe this year. So I've started to create a sinking fund around that. So I'll show you what that looks like. And yeah, let's dive into the budget tracker. Okay, we are in my budget tracker, specifically in the January tab. If you guys saw my video at the beginning of this year, I kind of walk you guys through how I use the budget tracker. And Zoe and I also set up a workshop in the beginning of this year, which a lot of you guys have given us really positive feedback on. We might do more of those. So if you're interested in a budgeting workshop or even just like a mini coaching one-on-one with me, I'll have that linked down below. But this is the budget tracker that I used and loved over the last 4 years. I love this so much. Like I can't even express how game changer this budget tracker is. It essentially allows you to see your financial picture at a glance every single month, and then you also have a yearly summary where you can reflect at the end of the year to see where your money has gone. All of the numbers here right now are placeholder. Basically, we have a monthly tab and the monthly tabs get filled in. If you haven't started budgeting before or you're a little bit afraid to look at your finances, I think this is your sign to get a budget tracker this year. And what better way to start than in the beginning of the year? If you're afraid to look at your credit card statements, if you're freely just spending without looking at what your credit card looks like, then I fear that you need this budget tracker because it will change the game for you. As always, we start with my income. So for my corporate job, as I mentioned, 3 paycheck month. I usually expect around $2,700. You can see that I didn't fill out the amount for the 31st, but I'm expecting it to probably hover around $2,700. So we can probably assume that my total income from my corporate job is $8,083.04. And then I had $168.52 come in from YouTube for a total of $8,251.56. And then for my savings, again, my 31st paycheck hasn't come in, but we can assume that I'm going to be putting down $100 next Friday. So I have put down a total of $300 for my emergency fund this month. My investments are a little bit high this month, excitingly, because I did do an extra deposit. So I typically put down $300 every single paycheck for a total of $900. And then because I sold a handbag that was honestly just collecting dust in my closet, I decided to sell that and put the money towards my investments. So I ended up putting $1,500 extra into my investments in January, which feels so good because literally that handbag was not getting used and it was just taunting me every time I looked at it. I did my handbag collection video, which I'll link over here, and I talk about which handbag that was and why I ended up selling it. So my total investments is $2,400, which is such an awesome start for the year. I think I mentioned in my goals video that I really want to focus in on my investments a little bit more and really grow that. So I'm excited to be putting any extra money I have into this category. Okay, next is my fixed bills. You guys can see nothing here has changed. I did mention that my mortgage was going to change. I was delusional to think that because I moved into a variable rate mortgage that it would be a drastic change. You guys, it was not a drastic change at all. I used to pay around like $1,600. I still pay like $1,600. It's like maybe $5 or $10 less. And yeah, I guess I was delusional to think it would be like hundreds of dollars, but I think in the long run we will be saving more money. And as the Bank of Canada starts to cut down the rates, then I'll start to save money. But for now, I'm still putting down $813 bi-weekly into my mortgage for my home. So not much has changed there, which is why I didn't change my contribution, and everything else has remained the same. And then moving into our variable expenses, I have a couple of things that are in red here. One of them is my home. So this is the big expense that I mentioned that kind of came out of nowhere for us. And then I also bought a few things under the shopping category. So we can take a look at that in my expense log. So this is my expense log for January. You can see I've got a few things like coffee, travel, dining out, all pretty normal things. In the beginning of the year, I also bought a pair of shoes, which were probably the thing that really increased my shopping for this month. I wasn't really planning on getting these. I did try them on when I was in Toronto, fell in love with them, and they were on an insane sale. I think these are usually $200. And I bought them for like $125 plus tax. So I thought that that was a good deal. I do wear them. I've been wearing them ever since I got them. So I do really like them. They are the Clark's Wallabies. I bought some things from Uniqlo. You guys know I love Uniqlo. They come out with the best things. I love their jeans as well as their sweaters. This sweater that I'm wearing is by Uniqlo as well. I just love Uniqlo. I think I bought a sweater which was $70. Oh, and then you guys, I have to tell you, I had to rebuy my Apple Watch, which I'm not wearing right now. I'm wearing my Cartier, but I had to rebuy my Apple Watch because I broke the one that I had, which I've had since like pre-pandemic. I'm pretty sure I bought that in 2018, and it was like the Apple Watch 3. It was definitely one of the older models, but it worked like perfectly fine. It tracked my runs, it tracked all my workouts, it did everything I needed an Apple Watch to do. And then I cracked it. I cracked the screen because I dropped it on pavement, and I was like distraught. The minute I realized that I couldn't use my Apple Watch, I'm like, no, I actually need this. I actually went on Facebook Marketplace because I did not want to spend another like $300 or $400 on an Apple Watch, and I really didn't need it to be like the newest version. So I bought one from Facebook Marketplace. It's brand new, but it was the SE, like nothing fancy. And I have been using it and wearing it ever since, but it honestly feels like it's the same as the one that I had. Like there were no noticeable changes, at least to me. So that was an unexpected expense for me. We had our first snowboarding trip this past January, so we went up to Cypress Mountain. Lift tickets were $70.35. And then the big expense, which I guess really shouldn't have come as a surprise because it comes every year, but I'm a new homeowner, so I get a pass. Property taxes mail came in and we needed to pay our property tax. I mean, we could pay it in advance, I think. So property taxes for us was $741 for the year, and I split this with my partner, so we had to divide that by 2. The other thing that was an unexpected expense, which I didn't put in here because it's kind of like an annoying expense, but when we were purchasing our home, we kind of thought that there was a leak from the upstairs neighbor. So as part of the like inspection for the home, we got a contractor in to check it out, and we really didn't think anything of it. So the leak wasn't actually there, but a year later, the contractor sent us an invoice saying you owe $840 for us coming in and checking something. Like they literally just showed up for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, checked something, and then they left, and that was $850. It was insane. And they didn't invoice us right away. They invoiced us like a year later, and we couldn't contact the old seller anymore. And we also thought, why are we paying for this when it should have been them? So because we couldn't contact the old seller, we did ask our strata who else could pay for this, because we were not going to pay that. And basically it went back and forth, lots of emails, and they were like, you guys basically need to pay for it. So anyway, I put that off for a long time. Then they sent another piece of mail saying you guys have to pay this amount like the other day or the other week. And I was like, oh my God, I can't even fight this anymore, because it's taking up like real estate in my mind, and I don't want that. And I decided I'm just gonna pay for it. And that was one thing that was annoying. So 2 big lump sum charges came out of my account this month, which is annoying, but I guess that's home ownership, and that's why a lot of people rent. Anyway, those are my variable expenses. I did go over my like expected amount by $200, which is not too bad. And then if I look at my pie chart at the top here, you can see obviously investments had a big chunk because of that extra deposit. Bills is always a pretty big chunk anyway, which is around 40% of what I spend my money on. Variable expenses at 21% and savings at 4.3%. Pretty happy with how the month has gone so far. Now let's talk about February. So February is a 2 paycheck month, and I usually put down my expected income from my 9 to 5 as $2,700 plus my YouTube income is $100. So my expected income for February is $5,500. And this is where it differs this month. I do have some new savings goals, as you can tell. So obviously my emergency fund is always $100, and I've now added a Europe trip line item. So my goal for the next couple months is to save $60 every single paycheck. I want to show you guys a new product that we designed for the line, and it is the sinking funds tracker. This is the most asked for item that we have been getting asked about to create for the line. Obviously, you guys know about the budget tracker. We also have a net worth tracker. Sinking funds is something that a lot of people use, so why not create a product to track all of your sinking funds? So it's something that is pretty new. We launched it this month, and I want to share with you guys how I am personally using the sinking funds tracker. So you can see it acts pretty much the same as the budget tracker. So if you have a budget tracker, then this might be intuitive for you because it's designed pretty similarly. So you can see that I've named my sinking fund Europe trip and the start date of today with a goal end date of May 18th, 2025. The reason why is because we want to take the trip at the end of May. So that's why I've inputted this specific date. Similar to the budget tracker, everything in green is auto-populated for you. So as you're inputting all of your numbers and all of the information, everything in green auto-populates. So it tells you the duration of your goal. So I have 3 months, I have 111 days. The goal amount is something that you input yourself. So I have a goal amount of $1,000. I basically want to use the sinking fund as guilt-free spending money in Europe. I want to save $1,000 so I can freely spend that in Europe on whatever it is that I want. And I currently don't have a starting amount, though I did fund this in January. So my starting amount is 0. It tells me my percent to completion, which I'll show you because I did, as I mentioned, I did fund this. But what's nice about this sinking funds tracker is it breaks down the goal for you. So it doesn't seem so overwhelming. Instead of saving like $1,000 right away, it feels so out of reach. It tells you, okay, your bi-weekly contributions, maybe you get paid bi-weekly like I do, is $166.67. Or if you're more of a monthly budgeter, then your total that you need to save for every single month is $333. At the top, you get the visuals of how far along you are on your goal and how much you're saving every single month. So you've got the monthly tabs here, which act like the expense log, but it's actually more of a savings log. You can see here that I allocated $450 as a big lump sum. So in January, I was able to put down a big lump sum of $450. And throughout the next 3 months, I have a goal of putting down $66 every single paycheck, which feels more doable now than this big goal of $1,000. I think this tracker is really helpful for people who want to achieve their financial goals, and it helps you just break it down to smaller increments so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. Back to the budget tracker, that is how I came up with the $60 bi-weekly that I want to put into my Europe trip every single paycheck. And then for investments, I will be putting down $300 bi-weekly, and my bill payments will remain the same. I don't think I have anything new, although these need to be shifted to February instead of January. 1 second. And then for my variable expenses, I didn't really change anything too much here, though it's a shorter month. Like, I didn't make any adjustments. I feel like the current budget that I've set for myself, which is $1,225, has been working really well for me. So I'm gonna keep that. And that is my budget for February. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know how you guys are feeling about the new month, how you felt about January. I've been having so much fun filming this month. If you can't tell, I've done quite a few videos and there's so many more that I still need to edit, but I really want to get this one out as quickly as possible so that it's there for you. Hopefully Feb 1st. If you're not subscribed yet, which I think like 60% of people who watch aren't subscribed. Why aren't you? Especially if you've made it this far. It really helps grow this channel and this community, so I hope that you do. And whether or not you're new, I hope you give this video a thumbs up because it really supports the channel, and I will see you all in my next one.